If you read what everyone else is reading, you'll only think what everyone else is thinking. It seems like everyone recommends the same books. And when I really think what books change the way I see the world, it's none of these. Here are 12 books that have very deeply affected my life. Your Brain at Work. Most people are still stuck in the strange habit of trying to do whatever, whenever. Most of the time, it doesn't work, and so nothing gets done. If you've ever struggled with motivation or focus, it will help you a lot to understand a little neuroscience, and this book teaches you the neuroscience most relevant to being a productive and happy person. For example, our brains are extremely good at recognizing patterns, so when you create and follow a routine, you actually make things easier. I reference this a lot in my latest book. It really has changed the way that I do everything. The one-sentence persuasion course. Do you ever watch how large groups of people flock around certain ideas and people and wonder what has gotten into everyone? I nearly minored in psychology, and I probably learned more from the one sentence this book is about. I will tell you what it is. People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. In other words, when the mob collects around a person or idea, it's because deep down it makes them feel good without them even noticing. Old masters and young geniuses. Some people reach creative success rapidly, others take a lifetime. This book is by an economist who was studying the prices of paintings and found that some painters were young geniuses. The paintings they did when they were young are their most valuable and influential. Others were old masters. Their paintings got better as they aged. Then he found this pattern in other fields, such as novel writing. He's come away believing you see this pattern in any creative field. The difference, if you're an inductive person, meaning you like to jump into things and figure it out later, it takes longer to become successful. If you're a deductive, meaning you start with a clear idea and just build, you become successful faster. Now, as much as it sounds like it, one is not better than the other. The old masters create innovations that the young geniuses run with. I'm digging into that in the book I'm writing now, Body by Science. This book changed the way I think about fitness. Fitness is not health. Someone can look extremely fit and actually be very unhealthy. Also, cardio is a misnomer. The cardiovascular system is at work when you say lift weights. And the whole idea that you're going to burn a significant number of calories from exercise is totally bunk. You're going to burn more calories naturally throughout the day if you just build muscle. The book presents a pretty amazing approach to weightlifting that gets you an incredible full body workout that builds strength and muscle in like 12 minutes. But I gotta warn you, it is crazy intense. It's okay that you're not okay. Whether you've lost someone, are supporting someone who has, or if you will one day experience grief, you should read this book, which is another way of saying that everybody should read this book. There's this misunderstanding that there are correct and orderly stages of grief, such as denial, anger, etc. But the reality is grief is an ongoing experience that in some sense never goes away. Like the author says, loss gets integrated, not overcome. By the way, if you want to actually remember what you read, here's a must-have tool for you. It's called Readwise. It syncs your highlights from just about anywhere. You can take snapshots of paper books or sync straight from Kindle. Then you have a database full of all the most interesting things that you've read. I have over 30,000 highlights from 500 books. Readwise sends you random highlights each day for you to review, and you can scroll through them on your phone or export them to take notes, such as in a Zettelkasten. I've set up with Readwise a 60-day free trial so you can see for yourself how it makes you a better reader. Sign up at kdv.co/Readwise. Next up, Guns, Germs, and Steel. This is a sort of theory of everything, impossible to prove, but very compelling. How did Europeans become so dominant in the West? The book breaks down a bunch of factors that gave Europe a head start and compounded those advantages, amongst them guns, germs, and steel. Germs in particular being very important, as the diseases Europeans brought to the so-called New World were very powerful because they had come from more densely populated civilizations. Other factors that affected the prospects Were there high-calorie crops that could be easily planted? Were there domesticable load-bearing animals, such as horses, that could do work? Was the climate similar throughout the land so you could spread a new way of planting or a new innovation to various nearby places? This book is ultimately about how factors lead to outcomes very relevant to understanding creativity, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Trust me, I'm lying. This book is by a popular author, but it's one of his lesser-known books. This is my favorite book by Ryan Holiday. Before he wrote books like The Obstacle is the Way, Ryan was a guerrilla marketer. I mean, he still is, which means is manipulating media by giving them what they want. Journalists and social media influencers are in the business of content, and that means if you can give them a story to cover, they often won't fact check it, which means, Ryan shows you, you can just make stuff up. This is part expose that will make you see the news and all media, such as social media, with a healthy dose of skepticism. If you want to promote yourself in media without the lying, it's also a treasure trove of ideas for that. Expert political judgment. How good are experts at predicting what will happen? Political psychologist Phil Tetlock has found not good at all. Tetlock has run forecasting tournaments where experts and non-experts have made millions of predictions about political events such as wars and recessions. He's found that experts are no better at making predictions in their fields than dart-throwing chimps. Those who are good at making predictions draw upon knowledge from a variety of areas and aren't necessarily experts at all. The scary thing is the pundits who are the most confident get more TV appearances and book deals despite the fact they're wrong. It's a reality check that has made me more humble about whether I can know what will happen in the world, my life, or my business. Understanding media. You may have heard the phrase, the medium is the message, but have you read the book? Marshall McLuhan's media theory classic is more life-changing today than when it came out in the 1960s. You are watching a piece of media right now, and I am speaking in a certain way, saying certain words in this video, because that's what a video calls for. If this were an article, I'd be saying different things in a different way. The medium is the message, and since media make up the water that we swim in, it affects everything from education to dating to politics. If you don't build your media literacy, media will fool you without you even knowing it. On food and cooking, recipe books only get you so far. They list out the ingredients and tell you what to do, but then you rarely learn why you're doing it. This cookbook is not a recipe book, and it's made me much better at cooking. It explains from a scientific perspective what cooking really is. You're applying heat to food with other chemical interventions such as oil and seasoning. This book fit my brain because I want to know what's going on and why I'm supposed to cook in a certain way. For example, it's much easier to understand why boiling, baking, or cooking in sous vide produce different flavors when you understand that each is just molecules transferring heat in different ways. So water can't be more than 212 degrees and can cook food. A 212 degree oven is just going to dry it out. The molecules in water are far more densely packed than in the air in an oven. Learn some basic concepts like that from this book, and suddenly you are better no matter what you're cooking. Bargaining for advantage. I used to think that negotiations were about winning, somehow magically getting someone to give you more than you deserve. But every negotiation is really considering a whole bunch of stuff about what you want, what whoever you're negotiating with wants, and how does your future relationship with the other party come into play. This book has made me much more confident and comfortable in negotiations. It's paid for itself thousands of times over. Mind management, not time management. I used to think that to get things done, you had to always be doing. But when I wrote my first book, I found I was banging my head against the wall 12 hours a day just to get 15 minutes of flow. Turns out banging your head against the wall is not good for creativity. The idea of time management is outdated and counterproductive, left over from an age of doing simple industrial work such as shoveling coal. To do creative work, you need to do work according to your mental state and the stage in the creative project. Yes, I wrote this book, which is probably why it has changed my life more than any other book. Remember, don't read the same stuff as everyone else. There are so many more impactful, life-changing books out there.